This was a reel I created of actual set scenes I have been a part of creating for the first 3 years of over 10 years on film sets, mostly through Los Angeles. This was the first set. I'm going to create its own video in the series for it on Transformers because it's an enormous amount of relationship I have with Transformers. The day the earth stood still. Again, this is a theme of different effects that I've been a part of mostly. So here's a Pyrotechnics. That explosion was 5 stories high when we created it for real. I worked on this set for a month and a half at least. We built all of that. It doesn't exist. These were actual projectile pieces. Like that piece coming at us was an actual boulder we created and threw it out of a cannon. So this is to give you a sense of my comfort and familiarity with many different size budget productions and the way to work within them, the way to build an image. Of course, when I worked with this hydraulic set, it was just a bare set at that point. And then this is a finished product that is easy at this point in my life with so massive amount of experience to know the way to compile this imagery and pull it off. And even back then I was trying to point to the themes of these movies as I now have them coming forth in this series and individual videos I'm creating for you. I think Stan Lee did his cameo the very first day that I was here in Vancouver. And so that was a real helicopter we worked with that day. And this is a real helicopter dealing with the pilots, going back and forth. I would add things like 50 Shades of Grey from them that's not on this reel. That wasn't a real helicopter. It was green screened. So the different ways you can kind of get the same effect. This is underwater. Had our camera people in scuba gear and a massive tank. Just to even get that, it's pretty remarkable the lengths we'll go to. Green screen, comping and imagery, oh my gosh. It's just remarkable the amount of work I've had to deal with all of this through the years. As said, I would add so many films to this now. This is only the first 3 years, and these are just highlights. It's a life experience that you just can't ever trade up for anything. Even just that image we just had with the fan, when you add the green screen imagery, it really adds the drama. But I was saying once, because I took film production in university for 4 years. I studied theater prior to that for 5 years. I said frequently when I was on film sets, if you had placed a university course where they said that you get to have this experience of running vehicles off the road and crashing them and firearms and massive explosions and everything, the amount students would pay to be in that course is remarkable. And yet every day I was in it. We actually did crash this item here, this fan for vehicle, and actually I know exactly where I am on the set. And so for me, I always had a habit where every day I made myself ask a question of a crew member for something that I didn't know. After 9 years, it became really hard, but I still tried to keep it up. Look at this imagery. Our stunt teams are remarkable. I worked on that series for its first season, most of this series for its first season. Bionic Woman, unfortunately, didn't take off, but my goodness, the amount of stunts. Firearms work we did. It was pretty prolific in this way. Firearms. So many squibs, fights. I love working with our stunt people. They are remarkable. They really do make these projects come alive. And when you really see it and you appreciate the amount that they risk their lives for your entertainment. He actually fell down a flight of stairs for this. Some more with sword work, working with individuals and choreography for this sort of thing, more stunt work, and working with actors and stunt teams together. Like this is Lou Diamond that we worked with. and then having him work with professional stunt people and getting to know their comfort level, and then pushing them a little if they want it, and then seeing what you can pull off. I worked on this for over a week just to have that one image that was just remarkable. I love cable work. You don't see it a good deal sometimes anymore, but it's really effective. Prosthetics. I only allude to it once. I used to work with him. He'd have to sit for several hours just doing the prosthetics. Just to give a sense that I know what it is. I don't want to get into it because it takes forever. Yeah, I'm very comfortable with prosthetics. This, I created its own video of the X-Files autopsy. Again, I was starting to allude to these themes. When I was in LA after I'd been on the set of Transformers, Bebo or Bebot had me onto their set. And I'll get into that another time. This is Victoria Justice. After I worked with her, she got her own series. I really liked her mom. And some more dancing, music, especially when I worked with theater as well. I worked with musicals quite a bit. Special effects, are you kidding me? Special effects and me, we go back pretty far. And it's not just fog work or things to this effect, creating the atmosphere. Of course, Supernatural, that's what they're known for. They're pretty remarkable people. And some of the more inspired things I ever learned on film sets were through the special effects teams. Kids. I've really got a reputation, babies, oh, small one, of being really sensitive with sensitive sets and creating an atmosphere for the parents as well to have feel comfortable. Sometimes things are pushed on sets just because the logistics of it are so rough. And I'm very, very, very fussy to make sure everyone's treated quite well. And so animals, all of this, it looks seamless, but we have to cue the turkey, cue the horses. They do lend to, I remember the poor turkey. I love that turkey. Oh my gosh. And I would talk with the wranglers. Like, you don't imagine it, but there's a cat wrangler. And their life is knowing that kitty. And then, of course, here I was alluding to these themes again of, I was more so placing this in because there's another level of what I was learning on these sets, and that is the Black Ops and different groups behind these productions, the way they function, what their concerns are, their area of focus. And so when you have these productions, I think that was the hardest part, was balancing all these different groups as they came at me, knowing who I was and where I was from and what I was dealing with. And yet the better part of it I learned from that. And so closed sets, sensitive sets, I already started to mention this, but this is about a mass murderer. This was one of the very few lesbian themed productions. I had another mass murder set I would add to this reel, so I'm just really happy you guys got to see this. And maybe when I have a bit of time, I'll update it and you'll get to see some more of the sets, because there really is truly a remarkable amount of experience I've had with these people for well over 7 years, past the point of this real highlight. Thanks for being here. Bye.